All right, thanks everybody. Eating for health. So the aim of my speech today is to plant a seed and get you curious to thinking about an alternative hypothesis as to what healthy eating means. So only a short speech, so I'm going to cover a few items at a high level. It's based on the research I've been doing. I've been reading a lot of books, been listening to some podcasts, and I had the opportunity to talk to blogger, author and podcaster Jimmy Moore, who was also one of the podcast hosts and one of the authors of the books that I read. So over the last few decades, we've all been told how to eat healthy, be healthy, what to eat. It's all wrong. I'm going to cover the Calorie Hypothesis first. So the Calorie Hypothesis is based on this simple conservation of energy equation. Calories in minus calories out equals energy balance. Okay. The flaw with that equation is that it assumes that those are independent variables. And you know that, right? If you don't eat much, you become lethargic. Your body slows down, you become cold. If you go and do a bunch of exercise, your body tells you you're hungry. You eat more. So those are not independent variables. That's the first thing. That equation leads to the move more, eat less paradigm. Everybody heard of that before? Yeah, it doesn't work. I'll use myself as an example. I've got a watch and a phone that tell me how many calories I burn each day. I burn about 2,500 calories every day. If I didn't bother to get out of bed, I would still burn about 1,700 calories. I work out religiously pretty much every day. On average, I burn about 200 to 300 calories per day doing my workouts. So why do we focus on move more? Why aren't we focused on improving our metabolism and figuring out how to boost that? The other thing with the Cali Hypothesis is it makes the assumption that all calories are the same. So 100 calories of fat is the same as 100 calories of protein, same as 100 calories of carbs. You've got to look past those macronutrients. They're not all the same. They're made up of micronutrients, and how they impact your body makes a big difference as to how your metabolism works. They all have different impacts on your metabolism. Okay, meal timing. Who's been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Yep. And it can be. It just doesn't have to be at 6 o'clock in the morning. And eat small meals often, right? Those two are based on a diet that's high in carbs. And the reason for it is to prevent glucose spikes. You know the best way to avoid glucose spikes in your blood? Don't eat foods that spike your glucose level. Okay, so I've been learning a lot about this information, and I've been applying it for the last year or so, and I'm going to cover a few things that I've learned. So the first thing is, it's a hormonal imbalance. It's nothing to do with calories. We all didn't suddenly become lazy. We all didn't suddenly become gluttonous. That's not the reason for the epidemics of obesity and diabetes and heart disease. It's to do with hormones. When you eat food, your body produces insulin. And you probably knew that. It controls your glucose levels. But did you also know it controls your fat metabolism as well? All the excess energy, insulin gets all that put into your fat cells for use at a later date. But the typical Western diet, high in carbs, your insulin never gets lowered. Never gets to the point where you can access those excess energy that you put away for a later date. And you keep on eating the carbs and you keep on producing insulin, you keep on trying to put more energy into your fat cells. Eventually you become resistant to insulin, and then the typical Western diseases that we know about, insulin and diabetes and things like that, come on. So what do we do? What do we eat? Simple rule of thumb, eat real food. If you can understand the ingredient list and you're not confused by all the chemicals that are on it, it's probably a good thing to eat. Try and avoid processed foods. It's pretty much as simple as that. That's a really good rule of thumb to get started with. Carbs are non-essential. We need fat in our diets, we need fat in our bodies to operate. We need protein. Protein's there for muscle maintenance. There's no essential carbs. Don't need carbs at all. Our body needs glucose, our brains need glucose at a certain level, and our body can actually create glucose from proteins through a process called gluconeogenesis. Our bodies can create the glucose that we need. Fasting. Who had a sense of dread when they saw that word? Fasting, it sounds awful, sounds like you're going to be depriving yourself. It's actually fairly easy. I've been doing it now for a little while, intermittent fasting. And you all did it last night too. Fasting is just from the time you have your dinner one night to the time you break fast the next day. The main problem is that most of us don't fast for long enough overnight, and the minimum really to get the benefits of fat metabolism happening is about 12 hours. I've been incorporating 24-hour fast into my diet, but just having a longer fast overnight can have serious health benefits. Basically, eat when you're hungry. So, conclusion. I've been doing this now on and off for a year. I've been putting it into practice. I've been eating a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet for the most part. I've started incorporating intermittent fasting, and I have the results from a sample size of 1, which is me. And I've lost about 20 pounds in the last year. In preparation for this speech, I went to my wife's gym and measured my body fat percentage, and I probably haven't been this low since I was 19 or 20. So I'm eating this high-fat diet, I'm losing fat. I lift weights, so I know that I haven't lost strength, so I'm keeping muscle mass. So I know it's only from a sample size of 1, but hopefully I've planted that seed of curiosity. If you want to know any more, I'm more than happy to talk to you guys after the meeting. Thank you.